of all the ongoings in our county. This is a priority. This is something that we are working on. But one of the things there is stovepiped going to the state, and that is a challenge. So our team works on this just as much as we work on everything else, looking at how and what we can do to kind of think outside the box on this and build a better picture that we can push and see what else is out there. So there are a couple loans that are DTSC loans that are really worth exploring. Again, that doesn't do anything now, but it is something that we're trying to push forward. The other really important part is our code enforcement for the county has 100% support of this, and they will do whatever is needed just to reach out from Tule Lake to help them with the enforcement of it. So, know that we're behind you on this 100%, and it's government. It just doesn't move fast. But we're trying. So.
And then to follow up, I just want to make sure you guys can connect afterwards and stuff, even if we drove over. And then Supervisor Organ brought up one of the solutions advocated by the tri-counties and by is the pass through. So it's
supporting their declaration for the city of Tule Lake, and specifically though targeting at least these two buildings and getting on a fast track so that at least it can be brought down to eliminate one of the dangers, immediate dangers. Obviously, there's more that come with that, because I think that's your request today is with regard to at least these two buildings. I understand there's a longer term outlook on this, but I'm supportive of at least getting that off the ground. If that's where the board would like to go.
That was our main goal, was just to get the information out, and I really appreciate you guys listening. We didn't drive down here expecting you to be like, here's a check.
We're waiting for that too.
It's not what we were looking for. I just appreciate you guys taking the time and absorbing it. Also, I want to point out, Brian has a counterpart at Tule Lake now. We have last year we got Joey Fiscal is a chief resiliency officer. It was a big state grant that we got, and we have it, and he's been working with Brian. Yeah, please come up. We have great food options. I'd love to show you anybody around that wants to come up, and I can take you to these different buildings and show you the settling that's going on. It's pretty obvious.
Ms. Nielsen, what's on that tour that day that we're going to be taking? Is any of this on that tour? I know it may not be, but I'm just trying to pinpoint.
Good morning, Board. Elizabeth Nielsen, Deputy County Administrator. Visiting these buildings is not a specific stop on the tour. However, we will be going by the city of Tule Lake as part of our tour, and we can certainly loop in whatever we need to. 100%. We can do a drive-by.
Police chief.
I'll pull you over in front of the building.
Yeah.
I'll coordinate with Chief Hoy on the April 30th meeting.
Is that where we're having lunch that day?
No, it is not where we are having lunch, but we are certainly driving near it, so we will set up lunch right there.
All right.
So,
Yeah, I was
okay.
That'll
Will do.
Exposure, right?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Yeah, you ready? We'll take 5.
He's the main event. I don't think everybody else says.
I'm trying to get the sound to work the whole time. I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, you're
Yeah, so I had to actually turn the No, that's, it was.
Supervisors will reconvene, and we are at 7A, Office of Emergency Services. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and Board of Supervisors. So I come to you today with good stuff. Today, as of 10:13, we are now officially switched over to, my name is Brian Shirley, Director of Emergency Services still. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we switched over from Code Red, so we're no longer using Code Red. Siskiyou County as a whole has took on Code Red since about 2013. It has served its purpose, but we've now moved on to Ready Siskiyou Alerts, which is a also state integrated warning and alert system. And one of the things that I'd like to personally, while I have this microphone, is to personally thank my staff for doing an outstanding job on putting this together. This was a project that we knew we needed to take on, but as we have spoke just a few moments ago, that we tend to get pulled in a lot of different other directions. And as much as this needed to happen, I just didn't have the bandwidth, so I handed over to the staff, and they did a fantastic job of moving this forward and getting it implemented earlier than expected. Quick little plug on this. We used it last year during our fire season along with Code Red. And what we noticed was a lot quicker response. So as we would push those evac orders out, we'd push them both at the same time. The Ready Siskiyou alerts would push quickly, and they have a nice, soft, pleasant voice instead of that harsh Code Red robotic voice. So that is a huge, huge plus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to the guys that took care of it and have them explain what they did. Thank you.
So I'm Adam Heilman. I am the Staff Services Analyst for the Office of Emergency Services. And I am very excited to introduce Ready Siskiyou Alerts to the board and to the rest of the county. The process, as Brian was saying, has taken a better part of a couple of years to really get through. And one of the important points is that we were able to get the data from Code Red and bring it into Ready Siskiyou. However, Code Red we're not able to confirm that all of the data made it. We have every reason to believe it did, but we're still going to encourage the public to sign up with Ready Siskiyou as well to insure it and to make sure that their record is current and accurate. We spent a great deal of time working with our partner agencies, worked with our dispatch centers at the local public safety answering points. One of the things that we're working towards is kind of an all hands on deck approach when something big happens, where the single or two dispatchers in the sheriff's office, in addition to having to answer all the 911 calls, it's very difficult for them to also have to stop and craft an emergency message where they can call on a partner agency to take care of that for them. That's something that we're really encouraging. But we've worked hard with our partner agencies. We've trained up their training staffs, and we are ready to go. So, something we're real excited about.
I'm trying to sign up while we're talking. I don't want you to think I'm not paying attention.
Morning, board. My name is Owen Cabo down the lane, disaster services coordinator of the Office of Emergency Services. So as you're wanting to sign up, Supervisor Cobb said you're gonna go to alerts.readysiskiyou.gov. We really appreciate.
You getting there? I'm going through it. The only place I got hung up so far was, and I don't mean to interrupt you, on the county website, it says sign up for code of red yet. It hasn't changed, but that's gonna have to change, right?
So I just have a quick question. So all these people that have signed up, we pushed to get on code red, they don't automatically switch over. You guys can't do that?
Yeah, so that was one of the pushes that we made with Code Red. Sheriff and I had a very nicely drafted letter that said we want our information. So all of the years of everyone who signed up through Code Red has been migrated over to Ready Siskiyou. However, I do want the public to go in and check that. So we will send a test one out here this week. And then we will also do our 2 in June that we've always done in previous years. So yes, our contact list was migrated over.
Yeah, because I'm a little concerned that there's a lot of people that are gonna be left out there that are not on for whatever reason.
Right, and this is a huge push across the board. It had to be
And
done.
as you well know, we have very limited media to get that word out. So I'm gonna suggest you have to go to some of these city councils and give them the same spiel.
Already planning on it. We have my face and Sheriff's face. Probably too much for this county.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries, thank you.
I'm sorry, what were you getting at?
Owen Cabo down the lane.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
So it's going to alerts.readysiskiyou.gov. We'll take you to that sign-in page, and then following through the steps in the sign up. It's a nice, clean interface, very easy to get all your information in. And then once you have your account set up, you can go in and change your household information. You can change your address. You can change login information. Anything you really need to do. You can add other members of your household if you'd like. If you can add other phone numbers, you can add other addresses, however you would like to do it. As you can see on the video here, we're going through the sign up so that you can see how the whole process works.
So by signing in, like we have us here, and having already been on code red, am I duplicating the effort, or am I already in there?
So we would like you to go in and just make sure that you're in there. Ideally, your information is already transferred over from Code Red, but if it's not, the best way to make sure that is to go in and sign up and make sure all your information is updated. Yes, sir.
Also, one thing we really like about this program, and we've seen really across the state, so two pieces. A, that this program allows a lot more interface with you as the user. You can put in access and functional needs, you can put in your own information regarding pets that need to be evacuated, and that will also come back to the PSAPs or the dispatchers when we push out alerts as needed. Additionally, So I also sit on the board for, alerts and warnings for the state. And one of the initial pushes for the state was that they could step in and push evacuations in our place. And through, the SEMS, the Standardized Emergency Management, and our technical groups, we fought very hard to make sure that that wasn't something that the state could just step in and send, without authorization from either OES or the sheriff's department. So the wording now states that we have to authorize anything that the state is pushing unless it is a catastrophe such as a war or nuclear blast or something in that sense. So, the state, although it is a state contracted system, they don't have overall rights. The county still holds the rights, to push alerts and warnings. So I thought that was a very important part of it and a huge push for the counties as a whole.
I'm almost there.
All right, so pending any questions, and Supervisor Cobbs will get the first alert, so we're gonna send that, no. So,
Makes sense.
you're ready to go. So, pending any questions, these are some important links, for our folks. We're gonna meet with, Siskiyou Media Council at some point and push that out as well. We can have I'll say, a rock tour, if you will, basically, announcing our Ready Siskiyou alerts to the county. And that's one of the reasons why we did it in April, so we have that time prior to a potential fire season.
So, you're going to the cities, but are you going to the community service districts as well? Like
Absolutely.
McLeod, County Camp, so.
Yes, and then also working closely with our fire safety councils, our core, any of our volunteer groups, and our VOAD as well. So, the VOAD that we pushed last year, and we ended up getting a grant for $7,500, well, actually $12,000, for preparedness, and the least dose grant is going towards, Ready Siskiyou alerts and all warning and alerting.
Excellent. Great job.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
And it even worked so far. Right here, within minutes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Thank you. You want me to skip yet? Airport, are you ready? Okay, all right, let's go to 7B, airports. Good morning.
Good morning, Joy Hall, Director of General Services. Here to give you an update on the airports. First on view, there's no updates there. I have one tenant out there, did drive by it the other day, it looks beautiful. As far as for Happy Camp, I am still trying to get a hold of the United States Forest Service. I've sent multiple emails and just not getting a response from them on the abandonment plan, so I'm just gonna work on that and see where we can get with that.
Why don't you go knock on the George Jennings Street?
I probably could, yeah, I walk over there, so, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
As far as for Scott Valley, in the last couple of times, the updates I've been telling you that the US Forest Service is working on a bigger footprint out there. They have decided to not do that. So we are working on a contract with them for emergencies when there's wildfire, that we will be getting monies when their helicopters are parked on our airports, but they are not extending their footprint out there as of the time being. But I am gonna try and work with county council to see if we can get their square footage. Right now, we only pay $1 per year out there. And so I'd like to see if we can't get them up to the current going rate, which is 32 cents a square foot.
Siskiyou.
That's out of Siskiou's already done. This is Scott out, sorry. Out at Siskiyou, we are gonna be having our last temporary meeting.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we were at $1 a year at Siskiyou. How come Scott Valley didn't come along since it's
Two separate contracts.
Yeah, I know, but they're the ones that said they can no longer pay $1 out here, so I'm trying to figure out what was the hiccup there.
Yeah, well, they didn't get into the contract over at Scott Valley, so and what opened it up is because their footprint changed out there, so that opened it up so that we could do the going rate, so that's right. Figure out how we can open that back up, because $1 a year is, feasible.
Right,
Yeah.
but I think they even concur with that, because they were the driver in moving that. need on the other way. Thank you, sorry to interrupt.
As far as Siskiyou, having our last TAC meeting in May, which I can invite all of you to if you'd like to come to it. We will come back after that meeting again and just update you guys on the ALP for that one. The PMMP grant has been closed and we've sent it off to the FAA for approval. And we've received some of our monies back for the ALP already from the FAA. Construction begins on Monday, yay. It will end sometime in the end of July. It was originally slated to be 17 weeks of construction with a 1-month closure. The closure is due to the FAA regulations that if we have any sort of work going on the taxiway or the runway, the taxiway or the aprons, then you have to close the runway down. We originally had the taxiway apron and apron area scheduled at different times, so that's why it was a closure. They have collaborated, made a collaborative effort with the FBO and the Myers Construction and our consultant to consolidate all of that work together. So they went from one month to 17 days. We have offered our pilots that during that closure that they could have for use at our other airports for tie downs and parking there. FBO is aware of the 17-day closure. I just spoke to him a few minutes ago. His concern would be that if it ran over the 17 days, then it's cutting into his profits. So we will make every effort to make it under 17 days. If it does go over 17 days, we'll figure out a way to open up that airport so that there is able to have people come in and out of that airport. And I think that's it. Is there any questions?
So with regard to so we know that the fuel rotation is a problem for the FBO, whoever they are, whether it's Siskiyou or here. Does that 17 days affect that fuel rotation?
As far as I know, they're not, and they did talk about having the mobile fuel tank out there to move around instead of it being right by the hangar where they have the
tanks, certified tank.
His truck is.
It's his one of his trucks.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So is there a provision for loss of income or revenue for the FBO should it go over the 17 days?
I don't believe so, but we can talk about that.
So my only concern is, I know how government works, even as good as we are, I know how government works. The contractor's gonna get paid, county government's gonna get paid, but the FBO, his pay is dependent on that airport being open. So, you know, we need to monitor how that's gonna happen. I know when I was out there was talked about a phased-in approach, so that there would be more availability for flight and fuel being able to be dispensed. So I would just caution everybody that if it does go over the 17 days, it's going to be problematic. I know that Valley Aviation has already pushed off bringing employees back by 2 weeks. We're in the type of economy that we can't afford that, nor can a private business owner, because operations out there is also revenue to the county. It's not just, yeah, we got to get her done. So I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm mindful that it's got to happen the way it's proposed, or it's going to be problem.
When I leave here, I'm going to ask that part of the mapping is the 2 aprons and the taxiway on the side, and then it has some hangar. I'm going to make sure that they can get that stuff done first before moving on to in the 17 days. So at least it opens up that and they can get to the fuel.
So strategize through July, but yet it's going to close for 17 days.
Only 17 days, and those 17 days start Monday, the 29th of April.
Okay. And then on Siskiyou Airport, give us an update on the bathroom and what we're doing there.
We're gonna have maintenance go out there and check that out to see if we can.
We heard that at the last meeting. I need to know an update with regard to what we're going to do.
I'm not sure that they made it out there. If we were going to do a field trip out there, so
And that airport's bathroom has been a problem for too many years. And then I want to know, what we're gonna do.
Just make sure that they're up there and that for the next meeting.
That would be very helpful because we've been talking about it for far too long. Any other board member questions?
So, Supervisor, I'm sorry, you know, I know once we did a field trip, we went to the, maybe there's something we can think about doing again and again. Yeah.
Maybe a short board date, where we can head out at after lunch maybe, and make it a longer board date. How's that?
No,
Wonderful.
Yeah, that works.
Well, I'm just back to the FBO. I would expect that in a contract with the construction company, if there are late delays,
Yes.
penalties, there should be some contingency there to make sure that the FBO can be compensated for lost wages, whether it's through the construction company or somehow we make it up to them. So that's,
I don't know that it's in the current. Contract.
it can't happen this time, but in going forward, you know, if we have any kind of construction going on or, you know, projects going on in airports, we need to consider that. But we all know that things don't ever go as planned.
if I could just piggyback on that bit, I caution on that because that would kind of set precedence. We don't do that on regular construction jobs. For private businesses, it's just part of the process of, I know how important Supervisor Cobbs, you've been an advocate for airports forever and a day. Finally getting something done, to me, it's like, that's the priority. Because as a matter of course, I'm walking in and I have a constituent talking about when you're gonna start the lead airport project. I mean, that's, you know, to me, that's always been the priority. Fixed base operator I get, but it's kind of like, that's part of the process that you have to deal with.
Well, Supervisor Valenzuela, I didn't want to open this door, but in the meetings I've been in, what I'm hearing today is contrary to what I've heard in the meetings, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Because the FBO was supposed to be protected in the meetings I attended, and it's changed a bit, and that's my concern. I put emphasis on that. Not that this project isn't important. It's an 18-year project, so yes, it's important, but it's also important to acknowledge what's been talked about.
Okay, well, that's yes to me, Supervisor Cobbs.
You opened the door, just that.
Well, but I think
it's not that it isn't important.
No,
It is.
but still, you know, my concern is that, you know, we open that door, you gotta do that for almost every project that we do when it comes to that. And again, that's never been my experience ever on this board, that we take care of something. I think I'm working, I actually have high hopes that this project is done in 17 days.
Yeah, hopefully. Supervisor Chris. Shifting gears slightly. You can multitask with your talents. For the Siskiyou Airport, how are we looking at in regards to the length? I know Congressman office is engaged and other stakeholders, but how are we looking at
Supervisor Costa had recommended I believe it was a senator in Oregon. Some names,
They also reach out to Congressman Banks.
Oh, yes.
Because that airport, for fire-related services, serves a part of his district.
So we are, one of our consultants is reaching out to them to see if we can get a letter of support from them as well on there. But again, the ALP has to be turned in and then we go get the letters of support. So our letters of support are almost done, and then we just have to wait for the ALP to be turned in before we submit those.
And I remember in regards to the letters of support and also the neighboring counties up north as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
And then whoever has to deposit a seat, they'll, I don't believe the contact the congressman just north of this. This is on the
East side.
east side.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The Fazio used to have it. I don't know who took their spot. I'm a little dated on who my congressman is up there.
I don't remember a name coming through and I can't remember who it is, but.
I'll ask a lot of
Mention it.
he ran, but he didn't win for a few years back, but yeah. But I can't remember who has that seat, but I think it serves, would serve those terms just more. Well, it's, I know we can talk about it, in fact, it wasn't, who has that seat. Even the number for this. The Congressman's office just north. You would think that there are counties would want to advocate for them as well. But of course, further shipping is our own airport, so you can't allow them to do the truth. So we have to do the AOP. Acronym.
Airport layout thing.
Okay, what's the timeline for that?
Our last TAC meeting will be in May.
Okay, that's. And then in regards to the military, it's been presented that the military utilizes the Siskiyou Airport. Have we got any official correspondence from them saying that they did not want to, that they were not interested in funding the lake? Or just emails or phone calls?
Well, so yes, you are correct that the military is using our air base, but what the FAA is telling us is that we can't use those numbers because it's federal government for federal government. So we're trying to figure out how we can get our numbers up without using airplanes.
No, I remember that. In regards to,
Sorry, did I misunderstand your question?
that's the way I asked it. In regards to military usage of it.
Oh.
Now they would want, a certain length to be able to use it. As the military had all said, we want to X amount to keep that length, or we want to do formal letters advocating for that length if it's vital to national security, or they responded back saying, not really. We're not interested. How have they responded back to us?
Are you talking about when they wanted to do the exercises out there at the airport from
whatever usage they may use? Whatever usage they may use on it.
Yeah, I don't know that they've reached back out again, but I will reach out to them.
Correct. Instead of having the local level, like in this, absolutely instead of having the federal level where they're silent, they don't talk to each other, and something happens and then they jump in afterwards and say, hey, we were willing to help, and we missed that vote. So I was wondering, who's your, who we contact in the military, his branches, those sorts of things, those that will use it or have used it, having their support either for funding, or if they said, we want to put this in the defense bill, a certain percentage because we feel this is vital national security, or they say it isn't, we just try it.
I will reach out to them and find out if I can get a letter from them as well.
Yeah. Or funding or whatever they want to do.
I do know that there's trainings going on in Klamath Falls right now, and from my understanding is that they are touch and go from SIY right now. So that's, but it is Air Force, but as military, don't know that you would be able to use those because of federal, but I do know that they're out there using our airport.
The best for us, the local level, maybe the best work through Doug Maltha's office, because they know the branches. Okay. Rather than you trying to grasp, this airborne, this group, maybe they could easily, Congressman's office could easily contact all the relevant groups. Otherwise, you're chasing Kingsley Field, you're chasing everywhere that they use it. And they may either put in contact, gets a reply, also gets a reply, but then also goes through the contact in their own liaisons. Otherwise, I'm chasing you on a bunch of different entities.
So our new software should be tracking through the bin, so that should be easily done, and it should be able to substantiate the numbers. Whoever needs to know what's being, what that airport's being used.
we're actually capturing 50% more so than what we were before.
Yeah.
It is a good program.
Yeah. So touching those that we don't, right? Well,
We don't charge for them, but they do show that
Shows
you're using
activity.
there's activity, yeah.
I know the consultant from Carol, who I met with when we were out at Weed Airport, as I misunderstood her as well. She indicated that they were in full support of keeping the runway at the length for, I think the minimum was 7,200 from 76, I think is what they had indicated in the presentation.
something like that. At any rate, maintaining the length that would be required for the firefighting, lines that are coming in.
And I also want to hunt for the deed from, in forties as well, because there may be some, information in there that says if we have to keep the length of the way that it is, and unable to find it, but I'm still on the hunt for it. Might have some information in there for us that we could give.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Item 7C, probation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mike Cole, Siskiyou County Probation Chief Probation Officer. I'm here today to talk about a circumstance where we found ourselves in. Starting back in 2017, we initiated a contract with the county to house youth in detention. That was our sole and only contract at the time. Since then, Plan B was to add Shasta County as an additional contract, and we have utilized their services since. A recent uptick in juvenile detentions caused us to utilize both contracts. I was attempting to use Tame as our primary contract, and then Shasta was in our backup. Tame counties had several operational challenges, which has diminished their capacity and the ability for us to use them as a primary detention facility. With that being said, we've had youths housed in both Shasta and Tehama, and this year we're in our first year of their contract with Shasta County. We initially asked for a rate contract. They had made it as an encumbrance, so we were stuck within the bounds of that financial. And when we thought we would be able to manage that, not foreseeing any type of operational challenges that we have seen. There are two funding sources for this, the general fund as well as the DJJ budgets both fund this, and we're at risk of our general fund exceeding the not to exceeding limit of this contract, but we will not be exceeding the total not to exceed based on the two funding sources. So we're coming here today to ask that the board approve our ability to pay outside the contract to continue housing youth. We've continually attempted to call on a daily basis to Tehama to have those shifted. Tehama has no openings. They haven't had any for some time. We're also finding that as a challenge in itself for our departments. So we are in the middle. We have asked Shasta to go back to do a rate contract in which we've sent them the language. They are an SB 81 agency, so any contract amendments, approvals has to go back to the state, two different agencies, which is CDCR and then the California finance. So it's not an easy task, but we're hoping to eventually establish a rate contract, which would be well within our bounds of our budgets that we've established for our contracts. And in addition to that, we're also seeking additional contracts with other counties as well for Plan C, D, E. But today we're here only because we're going to exceed our not to exceed amount of the $25,000 we set aside for general fund. Happy to answer any questions.
How many juveniles are we talking about?
So currently there's 3 youth in each facility. So
that's an uptick from.
Well, it's down. We were up to 9 total. We're down to 6. Later tomorrow we'll be down to 5, and we're hoping. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
CAO's office is in agreement. Okay.
We'll support.
Okay, thank you. And I'm looking for action from the board.
This is a serious issue. I was trying to question.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Supervisor Supervisor Chris.
Aye.
Excuse me, Supervisor Ogren. Aye. Supervisor.
Aye.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Item 17, county administration. Good morning.
Good morning. Excuse me, Elizabeth Nielsen, Deputy County Administrator. The item before you is a request for board discussion, direction, and possible action for the adoption of an ordinance adding Title II Administration, Chapter 40, Contractor Department, Sections 2-40-01 through 2-40.34 to the Siskiyou County Code regarding contract department procedures. And so this ordinance would establish a department procedure for contractors who either lie or provide false information, and would allow the county to debar those contractors for a period of up to 5 years. I'm sure you guys have looked at the agenda packet. It is rather lengthy, but it is required to do so to comply with law. And I would like to thank Anna from County Administration and Dana from County Council, who did the majority of the work on this department policy or department procedure. With that, I'm happy to take any questions from the board. Yes, yes. So as part of County Council's research of this, we did pull from other counties, but there is law which establishes a contractor's right to due process. And so that is captured in this document or in this ordinance.
Sorry, County Council.
Through the chair, yes, Natalie Reed, County Council. We have 4 very minor typo corrections to make.
Okay.
And so I'll make those on the record. In the definition section, section 2-40.04 at subsection F, Roman numeral 3, amend the word council ending in CIL to council ending in SEL. Then in section 2-40.05 entitled Causes for Debarment, at subsection A, the first sentence delete the word of after the word county and before the word false. Then on the last page of the ordinance, Roman numeral 7 addressing constitutionality should be amended to Roman numeral 3. And Roman numeral 8 addressing effective date and publication should be amended to Roman numeral 4.
You hear that, lady?
Yes. And just a note that the clerk's office, we did request County Council to do a summary, which we will publish at the same time as the public hearing and saves its cost.
Correct.
To publish this.
Okay.
I would agree with the same motion, with the
amendment. Have a motion with that amendment and a second.
That was Supervisor Upper. And are we okay with, right now we've got May 7th being the earliest we could do the second reading. Just a reminder, we do have the May 7th afternoon set for a planning commission to go.
Thank you.
So are we okay with May 7th?
Yes, that's what we're planning for.
Okay.
Supervisor Chris?
Aye.
Supervisor Oker?
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 17. The council.
Yes, Natalie Reed, County Council. At this time, we're asking to drop this on the agenda and we brought back.
Later.
It could be literally up to 30 days to a year. We can confer with
I
you.
understand.
So it just completely depends upon their input and.
So once we get that input and we're done on that side, how long would it take to, once it comes back to us and we go through our process to take effect?
Immediately.
Good, we wouldn't have.
And when I
wait,
say
so-
immediately, I mean that IT would be able to push the button that would then implement the process. We are not going backwards, we're going forwards.
So we could have a potential sooner than January of next year.
So in the item, it did provide for a training period, but we can further discuss that.
Okay. All right.
We just like to have a clean date, so, but, and also the training.
All right. Okay, thank you. We will recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Flood Control and Water Conservation District. This is the time for public comment on 8A. Is there any public comment in house? Seeing none, any online?
Showing none online?
That's here because we have this item for
Okay.
consent.
Parker, good morning.
Good morning, Matt Parker, Natural Resources. I have two very, very minor edits to the letter template. The first, Supervisor Ogencott, second paragraph, should be Valley GSP. And then the last paragraph, the letter should be approved by the Siskiyou Flood Control District, Board of Supervisors. So with those edits, I recommend approving.
This sent to the general public, or you sent this to the government entities?
Yeah, so this is sort of one of those Sigma required processing things that we have to send this
Version of a letter to all public agencies within the Bee Valley Basin jurisdiction. 90 days out, we did had to do this before, but the general public will get plenty of notice for all the meetings and so forth. So this is just sort of one box we have to check to make sure. Like we send this to the Board of Supervisors, we send it to the planning department. So it's just sort of the signal process and stuff we have to do. And so we're doing this now because we're 90 days out from the July 9th hearing when, yeah.
And then for public notification, I take it separate from this letter, but for public notification, it'll inform people of when the Bee Valley Sigma coordinating group is meeting. So just like 2 lakes for our round trip or Bee Valley's pilot trip, so they can participate in those meetings.
Yep, that was, yeah, plenty of notice we go, right?
The motion to.
Yes.
With the amendments?
Yeah, even both services.
Okay, second. Okay.
Ready, Director Valenzuela.
Okay.
Director Chris.
Aye.
Director Obrecht. And Director Clausen.
Aye. Okay, adjourned as the Siskiyou County Flood Control and Water State and District and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. And we're at 9A. The emergency, proclamation for, illegal cannabis.
Also move to extend the
One second for discussions. Okay. So obviously we've declared an emergency and it's just like this ongoing thing, you know, my fear is we're losing teeth out of this. We would like to have the sheriff come before us maybe on next week, give an update. Where is this, what this is done, what resources is provided into the county and where we are moving forward. It's still happening, I think.
Sorry, we're done. Angela Davis, County Administrator. The sheriff has stated that he is moving this up his list and so that he will be working on the updates to this resolution to bring it current. And at that time, he'll be able to provide that information.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. You stand?
Supervisor Valenzuela.
Yeah.
Supervisor Chris.
Aye.
Supervisor Obrecht. And Supervisor Clausen.
Aye. Item 10A, minute approval for March 12th.
You have a couple of corrections. Is that fine? One typo for Supervisor Ogren, and that was in reports. Yeah, I'm correct. The other is, I've got 2 here from Supervisor Chris, and one would be for under board reports that he met with the California Department of Agriculture rather than the Ag Commissioner. I can make that change. And then Supervisor Chris, I had a question on Siskiyou Transportation Agency, JPA. Would that be in addition to the wording that's on that page versus?
It would be. What I wanted to include in that for my colleagues, I'm sure as a cops, I brought this up earlier when you were talking about CSD and extracting the CSD. So I remember asking that question, Mrs. Cummins, which it wasn't part of the JP formal vote, you know, that they haven't included. Somewhere in there, somewhere in the discussion that she said she was going to meet with them, and include them in the discussion on letting them get in their areas, because they're county cities.
Yeah.
He's straight to just asked about that she was gonna reach out to see. Yeah. Okay. One action. Second. Yeah, second. Okay. All right. Supervisor Valenzuela. Supervisor Chris. Aye. Ms. Holder.
Aye. Any staff report? I'm sorry, that's right, yes.
Yeah, Madam County Council, I have a request to add an urgency item to the closed sections and the initiation of litigation pursuant to government code section 5495.6.4, one case. After the posting of the agenda for the Board of Supervisors meeting today, April 2nd, County Council was advised of facts and circumstances related to a matter for which the board's direction is required as to whether to initiate litigation. The next board meeting is not until April 16th, and direction regarding this matter is needed before the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Therefore, I'm requesting that the board determine by a 2/3 vote as the members present today that this is an urgency item and be
Questions? Move to add to the second.
And this is going to be added to closed session.
Yes.
Supervisor Valenzuela.
Yes.
Supervisor Chris.
Aye.
Supervisor Ogren.
So with that, any staff reports? And board reports? Yeah, real quick, I'm going to be going down to Siskiyou for the state wildfire mitigation resiliency thing. And I see Joy's left, one of the things I think came up with about airports. And the Forest Service, the Western region is part of that. So if she gives me something I can give to her when I'm down on that. About keeping the extension of the runway? No, more on the, okay. But for firefighting purposes now, Siskiyou would be integrated in the process. Well, I mean, paper that I can, yeah, clue her in on, I'm happy to do that. Happy to help. One column says, yeah, one pager. Yeah, because it's not, you know, it's not like she's got her own stats. Yeah.
The EDC Zoom meetings at the, whatever those are, electric vehicle meeting, that's what that was. And then I had a Rocky Mountain Health Foundation event meeting and an RC legislative call, that was Thursday, and then I had part of your dinner that I attended on Saturday. Chris?
Yeah, for me, Farm Bureau dinner, Klamath ESA meetings, we had, when we talked about the refuge and with watering it. And then with Miss Allie, we attended the official turn on a bee plant. So the water would be moved from Siskiyou Ridge, with the watering down there to try to have the ramp for some time. So that was the use.
And lastly, I attended the County Farm Bureau dinner as well. So just I did that, you and the board, last Wednesday, the 27th, I met with the South Shasta Resort. It's in the process, they want to extend the lease, and there's, you know, things are sorting on that one. I think they've got a letter in the work. Right? Yeah. No, you're talking about the museum. I'm sorry. It's just the resort. Again, as it, you know, they have property. Well, just gotta get rid of the property on the lease. Okay, that's it. All right. We're moving to the session.